Somewhere over the rainbow, birds fly, fly over the rainbow.
Hello everybody, this is Overboy and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2005 movie, The Longest Yard. So in this movie, pro quarterback Paul Cruz and former college champion and coach Nate Scarborough are doing time in the same prison and asked to put together a team of inmates to take on the guards, and Crew enlists the help of Scarborough to coach the inmates to victory in a football game fixed to turn out quite another way. So before I get into my part, I'm going to let Big D do his part, so take it away, Big D.
Hey everyone, this is the Big D here, and I'm about to collab with Ogre Boy again. This time around, it's going to be on The Longest Yard from 2005. This is a remake of the 1974 film of the same name. Now, for my thoughts on the film, this of course is a remake, and while I saw it after I watched this stars Adam Sandler plus Chris Rock and a host of others, and Burt Reynolds, who starred in the original film. Now, the story focuses on a former NFL quarterback who apparently gets drunk during a party and goes joyriding, and thus he soon gets sentenced to 3 years in prison after his probation is revoked. So now he's got to be doing time, but in exchange for a reduced sentence, he is forced to assemble a football team of other cons to play against the guards from the prison. And I gotta say, this is really something. Now, first of all, I do think Adam Sandler is pretty funny as Paul Crew. He was pretty funny. Chris Rock was pretty good as James Farrell, aka Caretaker. He was absolutely good. Also, I like Burt Reynolds, who played Paul Crew in the original Longest Yard. He plays Coach Nate Scarborough. We also have rapper Nelly, as well as Terry Crews, and even wrestlers Bill Goldberg and Steve Austin as well. There was also a host of others and what have you. There was Tracy Morgan, William Fichtner, James Cromwell, and lots of other people who had worked with Adam Sandler before, who I'm pretty sure you know who they are if you see them. Well, from what I've seen of this film, the film's fun and what have you. It's not really one of Sandler's best and what have you, but it does have a few fun moments and what have you. And it also has a pretty good score by Tay Castellucci. And Castellucci was the same guy who also worked on numerous other films Sandler had done, including The Wedding Singer, Big Daddy, Little Nicky, Mr. Deeds, and Anger Management, which this film was directed by the same guy who directed that film, Peter Siegel. It also has a pretty decent soundtrack consisting of hip-hop music, which of course Nelly was one of the few people to appear on the album. And there's lots of other rock classics and what have you on there as well. I think one of my favorite moments from the movie overall, I've got to say, is the football game itself. This was absolutely really fun. Just like how I got to experience that in The Water Boy, which Sandler did years before that. So overall, my thoughts on The Longest Yard from 2005, it's not that bad of a flick, but it's not really one of Adam Sandler's best, but it's still fun and what have you. I say it's worth giving a one-time watch. And again, the story is fine, but the cast is real good for most of the part. So, as always, thank you for making me a part of this, Ogre Boy. Until next time, this is the Big D saying, see ya.
Thank you, Big D. It's awesome having you on this review and everything. Longest Yard is one of those movies that I kind of agree with you on. It's definitely not one of Adam Sandler's best. In fact, it's actually one of my least favorite Adam Sandler movies. That being said, I do not think it's because it's a bad movie or anything. It just there are so many other movies of his that I would prefer to watch over this one. If I'm in the mood for an Adam Sandler movie, more than likely I'm gonna go to almost any of his other movies over this one and everything. But part of it this movie was really overhyped for me when it first came out because of people I knew and everything. I knew a lot of people that were really into this movie that loved the original, loved this one because Burt Reynolds was in it, and my family has a lot of Burt Reynolds fans in it and everything, and I've always liked Burt Reynolds and everything, but I always kind of felt like his part in this movie was kind of made a bigger deal about than it was, because he's more of a supporting character and stuff. I felt like my family just made a bigger deal about him being in it and stuff, but he was really good in it, and him and Adam Sandler worked really good together. But I gotta say, out of everybody, Adam Sandler and Chris Rock definitely worked the best together in this movie. They were just hilarious together, and Chris Rock as Caretaker is a really lovable character and everything. One of the first characters of his that I really liked, and this was one of the first Chris Rock movies I really ever watched and everything too. I had seen a few things with him, but I had never really watched a lot of his stuff, and this one was one of the first ones that I had seen. James Cromwell as Warden Hazen is really good too. I think he's always really good at playing these character roles, and this one felt like a character role that was suited just for him and everything. And I think the rest of the supporting cast, all the other football players and stuff, were handled really well. Terry Crews, Nelly, Tracy Morgan, you got William Fichtner in here as Captain Hour. He's really kind of an unlikable character at first, but he kind of becomes likable by the end of the movie and stuff and everything. He kind of changes his ways by the end of the movie, and I thought that was pretty cool. And this isn't like one of those feel-good Adam Sandler movies like a lot of his other ones is. It does still have a happy ending and stuff, but it's not near as good as it personally could have been, and everything. And also, like I said, as a huge fan of Sandler, I have trouble with like which movies I like more than others, but this one I can tell you I like most of his other movies more than and everything. And part of it too also I think is just the time it came out and everything. Every time I watch it, it takes me back to 2005, which was not a very good year for me. There were a lot of bad things going on, especially around the time this movie came out in my personal life and stuff, so I kind of didn't enjoy it because of that reason too and everything. I didn't enjoy it as much, and it takes me back to a bad time in my life, but I don't really fully blame the movie on that. It's not really fair to judge the movie on that though, but it's one that I don't enjoy as much as other Sandler movies that I've watched and everything over the years. And this is the first one out of the ones I've watched recently that I just didn't feel a lot of nostalgia watching it and everything. Maybe it's just because it's never been one of my most favorites, but all in all, I think The Longest Yard is a fun time and everything, and it's a fun enough movie. It just isn't one of my favorites, and everything. It could have been better. I don't know. It didn't feel like I like the more, when Sandler does comedy, I like his more over-the-top silliness, like in Billy Madison and Big Daddy and Little Nicky, Mr. Deeds, stuff like that. I like movies like that more than I do this one. It could also be I'm not really a sports person and everything. That might be another reason I'm not as big on this one, although I do love The Waterboy and everything. I do love some sports movies, but this just ain't one of the ones that I really care too much for, and everything. And all in all, I just feel like this one was okay and everything. It's one that I'll rewatch it when I'm watching my Adam Sandler movies, but it's not one that I just go to if I'm in the mood for an Adam Sandler movie, and everything. But I will say I love the opening scene and opening of the movie when he steals Courtney Cox's car, and he's driving it drunk and everything. And he asks the cop to hold his beer and everything. It's just really, really funny stuff, and classic Adam Sandler and everything. That was my favorite part of the movie, was that stuff right there. It's just Adam Sandler being a wild and crazy guy like he is. But yeah, so this movie it's fun enough and everything, and it does have some good emotional moments too, especially with Caretaker's death and everything, but it's not one of my favorites and everything, so I'd say I'd give it a C+. It's enjoyable and everything, but it's not one that I'm gonna want to rush to rewatch either. I like watching it every now and then and everything. Like I said, part of it is the times it takes me back to, and it just never has been one of my favorites. I'm not really big into sports movies and everything, and 2005 was a year for one of the years that had some really great movies, but there were more movies that I felt were disappointing and stuff. It wasn't just with Adam Sandler. I felt a lot of the comedians had disappointing movies that year with or movies that just weren't some of the best of their careers, like Will Ferrell with Bewitched and Jim Carrey with Fun with Dick and Jane. I think both those movies are fine and everything, but they're not really movies that are my favorites of theirs or anything either and everything. And that was just, I think 2005 was kind of just a mediocre year for comedy, except we got the 40-year-old virgin that year, and that made all of those other movies look like The Room or something like that, because the 40-year-old virgin is just a comedy classic masterpiece. But anyway, I'm sorry, I've just been rambling on and everything, but I like The Longest Yard. It just isn't one of my favorites. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of this movie, and thank you, Big D, for joining me. I had a great time doing this video and everything. And Esley, my friend Esley Greer from Entertainment Fanatic Review. Sorry, my tongue got tied. I just want to say, sorry you couldn't be in this video, but I understand why you're taking a break and everything. And just keep him in your thoughts and everything. He's got a lot of stuff going on and everything. But this video is for you, Esley. And thank you, and have a good day, everybody.